Greetings. Elder Blacklight. What I'm about to reveal to you about myself and the condition of the black woman in today's American society, I think you should listen. Of course, can't nobody tell you how to behave or think, but let me give you a little bit of my background. This is me. This is my brother. My brother died at the age of 4. He was already dead when I took this picture with the rest of my family. He died of bronchial problems. Said it had an enlarged heart. This is my grandmother. You see she got the turban. That turban represents the Nation of Islam. This is my father. This is my mother. She's the daughter of this woman here, my grandmother. My grandmother lived to be 100 and either 101 or 102 years old. My mother, she lived to be about 93. My father, he lived to be about 89 or something, somewhere around there. My father, he wasn't a member of the Nation of Islam. My mother, at the time of this picture, she wasn't attending any meetings, but she still called herself a Muslim. During this period of time right here, when I was around this age, I was still going to the temple every now and then, but at the age of 7, my mother took me out of the temple, and I stopped going. But my uncle, when I could find his picture, her brother, my uncle's brother, he was schooling me in the teachings of the Nation of Islam. He was a good friend of Malcolm X. My mother, she worked when she was going regularly to the Nation. She worked in the restaurant with Malcolm. She know Malcolm's family. My grandmama knew Malcolm's family. My father, he wasn't a church goer. He was mostly a street guy, but he worked in the factory most of the time in Chrysler, out at Chrysler, and he worked regularly. He did provide for his family, but he came up off of Hastings Street. Now, what I want to tell you is that I got one son. I had 5 daughters. I lost one to the streets. I got one living with me now, right now, with my grandchildren. I take care of all my daughter's children just about on a regular basis. Some are living with me permanently, But I got about, well, I did have 6, but now I got 4 of my grandchildren over here. Yeah, 4 of them. 1 girl and 3 boys. But they old though. One of the boys is 11. The girl is 17. The the 2 guys, the 3 guys. Well, I said one was 11, and the other 2 is 16 and 19. So I'm qualified to know what I'm talking about, whether or not you want to listen or not. I'm about to try to give you some knowledge on how to deal with today's situations. I got to get this book though, so hold on for a second. I'll be right back. This is another evidence that my mother was an MGT in the Nation of Islam, Muslim Girl Training, and this book was issued to her in 46. No, 47. I was born in 46. But she was attending meetings, but never did join up. This is when she joined up. This is a dues book that they give you. Now that didn't take long, but let me read something. I had to get this book. We're going over here. This is the Holy Bible. To Malachi chapter 4, 5th verse. Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. And he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to the fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. And what's that all about? Today, you got these young brothers like young Pharaoh, Seti, a whole lot of Mogats, Polite. They don't respect the accomplishments or the works of the elders. And the reason why I'm calling the black woman's attention to what I'm saying is because you don't have no guidance. In my mother's time, my grandmother married my mother's father, and he was a con man. He didn't want to work. He wanted to hustle. And he did some pimping. And my grandmother had to take up the slack, and she started working. So wasn't no one home to guide her, her brother, and her sister. Her 2 oldest brothers were up here in Detroit. She was in St. Louis, in a small little town called Crownlet, St. Louis, Missouri. And they had a suburb town called Crownlet. And my My grandmother had a rough time in those days. These in the 30s, and 20s, 30s, and 40s. Because my grandma was born in 18. I don't forgot the exact date, but it was 18 in the 1800s, late 1800s. And you see this, you see what my mother went through happening today. Until my father came along, she was a little child on the wild, didn't have no guidance. But she was very smart and went to school. Now, fortunately, she was in the Nation of Islam when she had me. And I heard those teachings at an early age. You sisters and brothers, young brothers nowadays, y'all mothers and fathers don't talk to you. Y'all don't talk to them. Some of you, very few of you may talk to your grandparents or your great-grandparents. But who schooled me and told me about how her life was my grandmother and my uncles. My mother, they didn't do too much talking. Just like y'all mothers and fathers don't do too much talking. Y'all leave it up to the white man to give you y'all history. Y'all leave it up to the white man television, tell lies with vision, to brainwash you and condition your mind. Then you leave it up to the school system to train you into serving the white man. My time is running down, but I'm going to come back with a part 2. This is Black Light.